Hello and welcome to InterviewTelevision.com, your source for quality interview content on the web. Our guest today is Gregory Carter from the Santa Cruz Area Chamber of Commerce. Hello, Gregory.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's interesting to have you here today to talk about the symposium and exhibition that's coming up on February 23rd of next month.
Yeah, we think it's a real exciting event and one that is going to play a major role in the community this year.
Now, most of the participants are high technology companies.
We think that there's a good blend, predominantly high-tech companies, some traditional business companies, and then there are those that straddle the line. I mean, you'll see, like certainly banking is now a high-tech business, but from neither the hardware, software backgrounds, we're seeing tremendous growth in this region with the biotechnology firms, and they'll be very well represented.
What was the inception of the motivation behind this symposium?
Well, the symposium serves the Chamber's mission. We're always looking at the growth of the business community in Santa Cruz and figuring out what we as the Chamber need to do to serve that. And when we looked at our numbers last year, we realized that the high-tech segment of the Chamber membership, and this is out of 760 members, had grown 8.5% in 6 months.
Okay.
And we see that as a trend that's reflected in the economy, so we got together and this was one of our responses to and how we might serve that community. The vision was to create a forum where traditional businesses in Santa Cruz, the auto dealerships and the attorneys and the accountants and the bankers, and the entertainment and the hospitality industries, where those folks could be together in the same room in a learning environment with the emerging high-tech businesses, to put a face on the high-tech businesses, for people to realize what it is that HADCO does. Who is Theridian? What does Theridian do? Santa Cruz Biotechnology, what do they do? To put a personality to these businesses so that the two business sectors could interact more efficiently and learn from each other.
From the viewpoint of an exhibition, what is the mission of the exhibition?
Well, the exhibition really speaks to that mission, and we talked about this a little earlier. Our goal was to create a place where those high-tech companies could bring their newest, best, and brightest toys and say, this is what we've been working on for the last 6 months. This is what we're putting in the market now. Plantronics has an exciting new headset that they're introducing, a wireless headset. That was our vision of what this exhibition would be, a place where those people who are making business decisions in the traditional business sector could meet these high-tech neighbors of theirs, see what they had to offer, and do business together. But as we discussed, what actually happened was the closer we got to the high-tech industries and asked them, what do we really need to do to serve you with this event? What they came back to us was, help us capture some of these workers that drive Highway 17 every day and go to the Valley to work. There are tremendous career opportunities here in Santa Cruz County, and if those folks are interested in working here, we want to talk to them. So out of that, we grew this entire career center piece of the event.
So how many different companies will be exhibiting?
We have space right now for 100 exhibitors.
Okay.
We, by the time we take our sponsors out of there, we think we probably will be looking at 115 or 120 businesses who will actually be represented in the exhibit part of the day.
And would you say half of those will be essentially high technology companies?
I say probably 2/3 would be high-tech companies. And again, it depends on where you draw that line in the sand. I mean, cellular telephone companies, those are high-tech firms. And they're going to be well represented. Digital printing companies, Bayside Printing, I mean, people who have traditional business missions but now have high-tech applications are going to fill the room. Was
there one particular person who was behind this?
I think so. I would give credit to Bill Teisling with this. Bill, as you know, is the CEO of Democratic Management Services, which is a community economic study group. Bill is also the outgoing president of the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors.
Okay.
And Bill is in the very enviable position of being both a leader within the Chamber of Commerce and also a leader with the Santa Cruz Technology Alliance. And I think he saw that this marriage might be beneficial to both organizations and saw it as a vehicle to serve the community. So he's driven this and is very active in it even as we speak.
So what are the companies that he first turned to for support in putting this together?
Well, I think the companies companies that he first turned to were those companies that were represented within the Technology Alliance. And certainly there's a great message here of thanks that we all owe these companies, because this is a first-year event, and it takes a lot of faith and it takes a lot of vision to support a first-year event. But Theridion here in town, who is now on the 5th floor of the Cooper House building, Cruise.io, who is, has been a high-tech company in Santa Cruz through the emergence of the technology economy. Wells Fargo Bank, who's playing a growing role here now, is going to roll out a new online banking, business-to-business online banking service this year. So they've come on board. And Al Shugart International. And if there is a high-tech icon in Santa Cruz, it's Al Shugart. And one of the things that has been really impressive in the process is getting to know these folks a little bit better. And certainly Al Shugart practices business with an integrity that we could all live up to. Now, how did this spin off? As soon as we got these folks involved, the folks at Gray Zone Productions down in Capitola came on, and they're the ones who've built our website. And I think anybody who sees this website is going to be impressed with what they see.
Now, is Gray Zone an ISP or a website
They're
designer?
They're a designer. They're architects. A young, aggressive company that you're going to hear a lot more about, I think, in the near future. But they do tremendous work, and our website is a testament to that.
Okay. And the ISP for the event?
Is Cruise.io is working with us, and as is GotNet. And I think, again, this is another place where when you begin to serve the community, there's a wonderful thing that happens, and that is the proprietary relationship between some of these businesses kind of dissolves for the betterment of the community. And it's great to see people who generally, on a day-to-day basis, go head-to-head, competing in the market, kind of get together and say, well, for this event, how can we work together and leverage their abilities for the good of the community?
I would add that my personal experience in Santa Cruz is there's a great awareness that on the internet, competition typically breeds customers. That there isn't really so much going after the same part of the same pie. But we create a community that generates more activity and more technical innovation.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I think that's a great observation about this day. One of the goals of this day is to make that technology pie in our market a bigger pie, and create room for new players and create room for the existing players to grow. And again, as the Chamber of Commerce, that's our mission, and how that filters down to the rest of the community is pretty amazing. When a company like Coast Commercial Bank can increase their efficiency through working with high-tech companies and improve their bottom line, then they can take some of that money and they can give it to a community organization like Special Olympics and help drive that part of the population so that the entire community is served when business is successful.
Cool. So on the Symposia side of the event, what's happening there?
Well, it started off to be 4 tracks of symposia, which I know is now the plural of symposium. And we started off again with e-commerce because that was a popular track, and we set up three classes of 45 minutes each within the e-commerce track. And then right behind that was the online management. Again, human resource, communication, personnel. How can you manage your business better online? And we set 3 45-minute tracks within that, 3 45-minute sessions within that track. And then we got to the original thesis of the event, and that was new technologies. What's out there that people haven't seen that's new and exciting. And part of it is day-to-day, hands-on goods and services that people in this market will buy and use, like the Plantronics headset. And part of it is kind of a showcase mentality. BC Tech, who is one of our growing businesses down in Soquel, just received a national award for a medical instrument that they designed. And that's here in our community, and it'll give us an opportunity to talk about some of the great things that are going on. This really is a community of the best and the brightest, and we're hoping that this forum will bring some of that to light.
If I was running a small high-tech company and was thinking of participating, what would be the different reasons I would participate in the Santa Cruz Technology Exhibition and Symposium?
Well, I think there would be a couple, and you would prioritize them based on your business plan. But certainly one is market activation. One is there are customers in Santa Cruz. It's a growing economy. There's a lot of money that changes hands here. Your neighbors would generally rather do business with you. Right. All other things, price points, quality of merchandise, availability of distribution, all those things being equal, they'd rather do business with you than someone who doesn't live in their community. So as a small business person, I would encourage you to come and meet those folks who you could do business with. I think also there's the notion of presence within your community. That is, I live in Santa Cruz, I work in Santa Cruz, I hire people that live in Santa Cruz, I pay taxes in Santa Cruz, I support the Santa Cruz community, I want a presence at Santa Cruz community events, and this is certainly one.
And if I were thinking of attending as a technologist, what would be on my list of things
I think
to do?
I think it would depend on what's on your to-do list today.
Okay.
If what's on your to-do list is to reduce your bottom line budget, then certainly you would go around some of the same missions that we talked about before. How do I meet people that I can do business with in this market? How can I make my bottom line a little stronger than it is today? By networking, by meeting new people, by familiarizing myself with the talents and the products of the people in my community. On the other hand, if you're a technologist who's been driving Highway 17 traffic for 4 years and you're sick and tired of doing that, then you might come to this event to look for a new career or to see what's available in Santa Cruz. We think that this emerging economy is producing tremendous career opportunities for folks, and that they don't know just how deep that well is right now. And that's one of the missions of this forum, is to give this list of employers of choice the opportunity to talk to these folks who have these amazing skill sets.
Okay. Where's the physical venue, the site of the symposium?
Our event will be the first event held in the new University Town Center.
Okay.
This is the new Barry Swinson property that had its grand opening a couple of months ago. Down at it's on Pacific Avenue, right down the street at the corner of Cathcart. And this is an incredible new venue for Santa Cruz in general, and probably a once in a lifetime opportunity. The folks at Barry Swinson have built this building and they're leasing it up for businesses, but right now they haven't done all the tenant improvements. So what we're looking at basically is an airplane hangar with windows. Okay. And we're going to go in. We've got significant exhibitor space on the first and third floors. And then the tenant on the second floor is the University of California's extension offices. And so we have the classrooms with all of the teaching tools that are already in those classrooms, and that's where we'll be housing the symposia.
Cool.
Lots of easy access, lots of parking. We want to make this a good day. We're excited to be in this venue.
And it's from 8 in the morning till 8 at night?
Starts at 8 in the morning. We began thinking that we would get up and have coffee at 9 and start at 10. And the more we talked to folks, we realized that there was an opportunity for us to talk with people who were driving over the hill to begin work later in the day if we had some sessions in the morning. So our idea is to hold those HR sessions, those career track sessions in the morning. And then we'll go all day. The symposium actually will begin at 8. The exhibitors will begin at 10. And then the folks from Bombay Gin are coming in at the back end of the event and hosting a party for our sponsors and exhibitors.
Cool. I see Lutris is also one of your sponsors.
Yes, they are. We have a good list. It's wonderful to see a lot of energy around a new event because it is tough. Generally, the budgets aren't available, and people are taking a leap of faith. But I think Santa Cruz is a type of community that folks want to identify with their neighbors. And when you get a group like Office Dynamics and Plantronics and Texas Instruments in, then Lutris and Pacific Publishing and Santa Cruz Biotechnology all want to come in too. Right. So you begin to develop a community. And then you get the media sponsors who want to come in. Besides our station here, the Good Times folks have really been wonderful at driving this. And then, of course, Gray Zone put the website up for us. The New Wave Radio Group, 5 radio stations are going to be involved in helping us promote this.
What is Office Dynamics? What do they do?
They do professional services. They do everything from some of the things we talked about earlier, instructing you in new efficiencies, online management, but they do copy machines and communications and administrative products.
Okay.
They're an institution here. They've been here for quite a while.
And Lutris does some web development?
Lutris does web development. Lutris right now is one of these principal sponsors who has some tremendous and very exciting career opportunities. And you get an education in just what's out there when you start talking to these folks about who they're trying to attract. I should have begun this interview by saying the fact that I'm here talking with you on this show is sort of a real indicator that technology has moved into the mainstream. Because those who know me have never accused me of being a technologist. But it was interesting talking with the folks at Lutris about just the different levels of folks that they're looking for. I mean, there are all kinds of, it isn't just senior SEs. It's people who have very basic educations and want to build a career track.
So how many members are there of the Santa Cruz Area Chamber of Commerce?
We have 760 members as of this morning.
Okay.
I think one of the misnomers about our chamber is that it's a city chamber, because we're actually very much a regional chamber. We have members in Scotts Valley, we have a few even in Los Gatos, and we come all the way through Santa Cruz and stretch down through Soquel, Capitola, Watsonville, and down toward the Monterey Peninsula. But it's a very active chamber. It's a chamber that is very network oriented. That is, again, people liking to do business with members who are chamber members.
And your relationship with the Santa Cruz Technology Alliance has been very productive?
Very productive. We've really enjoyed this. This is an organization who is doing great things in our community, and very often in a stealth mode. People don't realize that they're out there. But third quarter of last year, the Technology Alliance sponsored an ISP forum. We brought all the internet providers together in one room to kind of talk about best practices and futures of the industry. And there were 120 people that showed up down at the West Coast Santa Cruz Hotel to spend the night talking. And it was great seeing this kind of energy and just the buzz in the room. I mean, all this wisdom and excitement and energy, and you could tell that it was going to go someplace. And that was a really nice beginning for the relationship between our two businesses, our two organizations. And then when we began, again, Bill had a lot to do with putting these organizations together for this event. But when we talked to Stephen Beadle and the folks at the Technology Alliance, they saw the potential, they had the vision to see how good this could be for the community, and jumped into it with both feet.
Your position at the Chamber is Marketing Director, Membership Development.
That's true.
So how does that feel?
Well, it feels good. It's my background is in nonprofit, and I've done a lot. I've worked with a lot of very worthwhile causes, and the only downside to doing that work was that I was doing it in other communities, and then I would come home at night, like so many people do, thinking that I wish I was more attached to the place where I lived and where my children went to school and where I go to church. And the Chamber offered me that opportunity to come in and do some work here in Santa Cruz. There is this event in our chamber are other examples of just how powerful volunteerism is in our community. Like most nonprofits, we rely very heavily on the work of volunteers. And if you could see this 15-person steering committee, with representatives of some of our founding sponsors and some of our media sponsors, get together and just brainstorm and pick some, get some direction, folks from UC Extension. It's just a very can-do attitude, and the success of this event will have been fueled by volunteers. And again, it's things that people don't have to do that they're choosing to do for their community, and that's what creates this community.
What are some of the exciting things you hear going on in the technology community in Santa Cruz?
Well, I think one, it's just the growth potential. I think that everyone recognizes that the technology industries here are going to play a role in Santa Cruz now and in the future. And I think that it's going to touch so many lives. You're very obvious, and the studio is very obvious, but in much less obvious ways, it touches all of our lives. And I think at this point in history right now, Santa Cruz as a community can decide how it's going to embrace the technology community, how it wants to grow, how it wants to meld the traditional business sector with this new technology sector. And there's a place for everybody to be a part of those decisions, to be a part of that melding. And the technology community here is so supportive of these broad-based decisions and what can I do to give back to the community and how can I assist in a vision of Santa Cruz that's consistent with our neighborhood complexion. That's what the people that I'm talking to are espousing, and I think that's exciting that you can bring the best of those efficiencies and the best of that economy and still keep the complexion of Santa Cruz the way it is. So I think the short answer to your question is the participatory nature of the melding of these two economies, of the willingness of the technology people to work with what's here, and the excitement that the traditional business community has around welcoming the technologists here.
I believe you're an alumni of UC Santa Cruz?
I am an alumni of UC Santa Cruz.
When you were a student at UCSC, what was your impression of the technology and business community of the county, of the area?
I think, because I was in the community studies program, I saw them as a resource, a growing resource. Again, my background has always been trying to figure out how we can take resources within the community and make this the best community it can be. So as a student at UCSC, and I was a reentry student when I was back there. I was going to college a year ago up there, and I was looking at this emerging economy, and I was thinking there's a lot of potential here for making this partnership.
Right.
How can we capture these resources and put them into environmental issues? How can we capture these resources and put them into stable growth issues? How can we use the wisdom of this information processing system to better equip our politicians and our chemists and our mathematicians? So I think initially I saw them more as a resource than I did as actual people. And it's only through this project that I've gotten to know some of them and realize that these are the same environmentalists that I was going to school with. These are the same, CIS majors that I was playing Frisbee and basketball with WCSC.
So you think there's a particular potential to work the town and gown dynamic here?
Oh, I think so. Absolutely. Santa Cruz is a town that has always respected diversity and always welcomed diversity. And this is just another form of the diversity. And I think you look at the university and see how Dr. Greenwood and her staff are working to be a part of this community and what they're willing to give. And the vast, they are heavily vested in youth education, children's education now throughout the town, putting a lot of resources into that. And like so much else, it's a whole lot easier to see the distinctions when you're far apart. But as you get closer, you realize that you have a tremendous amount in common.
So what kind of developmental issues, I mean by developmental, I don't mean child development, I meant community development issues, is the Chamber of Commerce mostly focusing on right now?
Well, I think right now we're looking at sustainable growth of businesses. The Chamber has for years had core values that talked about dealing with business from a position of integrity, doing what you say you'll do.
Right.
Is this the best for all concerned? Growing businesses in a fashion that is acceptable to all parties and not exploitive. And just recently we've taken on this fifth challenge, and that is how can we lead the way in terms of sustainable business? How can the Chamber take a leadership role in showing businesses how to recycle?
Right.
How to get the most out of the goods and services that they have, how to take the least from the land.
Right.
And that's sort of our focus right now. We continue, that is, Santa Cruz continues to be a wonderful incubator for small businesses. How can we assist these two guys who have started their own business in developing a marketing plan? How can we give them some presence in the market? We always look to put businesses that should be doing business together and let them thrive for the relationship.
So if you were to consider what would attract someone to cite a new company or new plant or facility here, a business, commercial enterprise in the Santa Cruz area, what are the top three things that would come to mind?
Oh, I think probably the same top three things that brought you and I here. I think the quality of life is tremendous. You're looking at an environmental oasis in terms of the mountains and the oceans, and like most economies, you follow that up with the best thing about any community is the people that come to live there. And I think Santa Cruz is a sterling example of that. That you can't go anywhere without meeting people that are fascinating. So my call to new businesses would be to come to Santa Cruz and see what we have here, and then look at our economy, look at our community, appreciate the complexion that it has, appreciate the values that we as a community have, and explore how you could play a role in that, because we certainly are going to welcome you and certainly going to listen to what you have to say.
Sure. So it's come for the roller coaster, stay for the people.
Yeah, that's well said. Well said. Or come for the ocean and stay for the mountains.
Okay. So the website for the event is cruisetech.org. And that has a full explanation of the exhibitors, how to sign up, send in a resume, and you get in for free.
Let me touch on that for just a second, because this is a big one of the things that we really want to do is bring these new employers and their potential employees together. And there's a $7 admission charge to get in and walk through the exhibits or sit through any of the symposia, which is very value packed in itself. But if you'll register online at cruisetech.org, register your job skills online, or if you'll walk down to the UTC with a resume, we'll give you a ticket to get in free, because we want you to experience this event.
Cool. Yeah. And all that information is available at cruisetech.org.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We really would like folks to go to that website, take a look, to register online.
Well, Greg, thanks for joining us today.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It was very informative, and I'm looking forward to doing an after-action report on the Cruise Tech.
Well, we look forward to getting you down there for the event and introducing you to all these folks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you for joining us today on interviewtelevision.com, your source for quality interview content on the net. So you've been living here?